What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Beatbox video series. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. As you can appreciate here in the chart, BTC has been having volatility compression since July 8th on the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands have been showing to get tighter and tighter as volatility continues to decrease on the weekly time frame. Some very interesting remarks to do on this setup. The first one is that you have two failed breakdowns on which you have recovered and you've managed to stay on the price above the lower Bollinger Bands. The first one was on July 1st and the second one was on August 5th. So both cases imply that volatility was increasing, Bollinger Bands were getting tighter, and price tried to break down to the downside, and buyers stepped in, and it was actually a failed breakdown. So having two attempts from sellers to try to push the price lower and have a Bollinger Band expansion to the downside has failed because buyers stepped in. And for now, you're having another weekly close in 21 more minutes above the lower Bollinger Bands, and actually will be closing on a green weekly as for now, because we're up 0.3% on the weekly time frame. But the really important things, whether we close green or red, in my opinion, is that you're able to close above the lower Bollinger Bands. You actually have somewhat of a bullish retest here to the lower end of the bands, while compression is still getting stronger and stronger and volatility has been decreasing. You can see something really similar happen here last year, exactly on the same month, on August of 2023. Buyers tried to somewhat get of a breakdown, but they found support on the lower bands, and just price stayed down here for a while, above the Bollinger Bands, just chopping around. Volatility kept compressing until you had that breakout with the Bollinger Band expansion, and volatility for quite some weeks until the top on 74K on March this year. So I think that price might be doing something similar here, just really compressed on the weekly time frame. And when you get this kind of compression on the bands and you get volatility compression on Bitcoin, more often than not, it tends to have a strong breakout with volatility coming back into Bitcoin again and into most of the crypto assets. So I think that we're doing something really similar here than what happened on August and September of last year. And we could chop around at around these levels for a few more weeks. Who says that we cannot? And volatility will still continue to get tighter and tighter, and anywhere on the next few months, I think we'll get that resolution with volatility coming into space once again. Hopefully it will be volatility to the upside, getting a violent move into price discovery once we break out of 74K. Because I think since how you can see here in the chart, when you have this kind of expansion on the Bollinger Bands and then you start getting compressed and compressed, then usually what comes next is a strong move that lasts for at least a few weeks to a few months. So have that in mind. If we go to the MACD here, you're still building strong negative momentum, but that's all right because you have not been selling strongly on the price action. This is regular or normal, if you could say so. But hopefully, if we get somewhat of a bounce on the weekly time frame, you'll start to print weaker and weaker negative momentum until you flip green. And you've been printing negative momentum on the MACD for quite some time now. This is the 15 bar of negative momentum. You've been building negative Momo here for 105 days. So a long time since you haven't seen any green positive momentum on the MACD histogram. So that might be a signal that this expansion or this volatility compression will ultimately lead into the opposite side of the momentum here, into a positive momentum breakout on the Bollinger Bands. And also, I want to show you guys something that's supporting my bullish bias here. It's on the RSI. You do have a bearish harmonic. I mean, it's a bullish harmonic that's not completed yet. We go here from X to A on the low here, B on the bounce, C here. If we're actually holding C point here, you will go for an 88% retrace from low to top at around the D point here, at around the 83 or 84 point level on the RSI. So this would be a bearish bat if actually gets confirmed here on the RSI. So what you could expect if actually deep C point holds here, if you don't create a lower low on the RSI, you could speculate that the RSI eventually will go to the C point and maybe sell off and create somewhat of a retest here, somewhat that harmonic traders call a type 2 return. And this is where you could speculate that the RSI is going to roll over into deeper prices, or at least into the lower end of this harmonic. But that hasn't happened yet. But since on how this is looking, I think this is somewhat of a bearish harmonic structure on the RSI. So if this actually gets confirmed, it would imply that the RSI will be anywhere on the next few months at the 84 point level. So super overbought, extremely overbought on the RSI, with possibly another impulse to the upside. So that correlates to potentially a bullish breakout on the volatility on the Bollinger Bands. This also gets invalidated if you take out the C point here. Then this whole structure wouldn't just be valid, and it wouldn't be worth speculating on, in my opinion. But given the confidence here that you have, that you're being able to hold this lows on the Bollinger Bands while still getting compressed, I think that maybe you'll continue to chop around at around, hopefully above the lower end of the Bollinger Bands, and then when you reach even further volatility compression, I think that you're going to get that that bullish breakout into volatility expansion to the upside, to overbought levels on the RSI. So that's what I'm currently looking at. Although I do have to stay honest and say that this is somewhat of a downtrend on the weekly. You have lower lows and lower highs, but you are on a macro uptrend. You do have a bullish fractal on the 6 month on BTC. So if you've been watching my videos on my channel, you do know which bullish fractal I'm talking about. You're on a halving year. You're on a presidential election year in the U.S. Maybe in a month or so, actually in one more month, there in September 18th, there will be a FOMC meeting, but eventually the Federal Reserve will cut rates, and money policy will get easier. So I think you're poised for continuation of the uptrend on BTC, and that's what currently the volatility is saying. And in hindsight, maybe this whole harmonic will be obvious on the RSI. And just to close off, I'll go into the 3-day here on BTC, because I was talking about here on the MACD histogram. You do have a bearish setup. You have a hidden bearish divergence, which is a continuation divergence, a continuation of a downtrend divergence here, where you have a lower high in price and a higher high on the momentum histogram, which implies that buyers stepped in, made their biggest effort on pushing the asset price higher, and all they could do was just a lower high regarding this high. So that this divergence implies bearish continuation. But you can see here, this 3-day candle will close in 13 more minutes. So until they just nuke price within the very next few 13 minutes, which I don't think will happen, you'll be putting a lower negative momentum bar on the histogram. So hopefully you'll need further down evidence for this to be over, but hopefully you can speculate that this was just the performance of this hidden bearish divergence, the one that you have here. This was just the negative momentum that it created, and then you can start building positive momentum once again, hopefully on the next 3-day closes. So if you continue to lose negative momentum and start to get close to the green positive momentum here in the 3-day, you'll know that this hidden bearish divergence wouldn't have performed as well as some traders would expect. Excuse me. So if you're actually able to see that within this week, I'll be telling you guys on my live streams. Then I think it will be really good for price action on the next week. So, and also this bullish engulfing from Wednesday. I think it closed on Friday, but Wednesday 7 August candle, this bullish engulfing, it's still valid. So you have not taken out this weekly engulfing. You need a 3-day close below 56k basically to invalidate this bullish engulfing. So you do have a bullish engulfing candle plus losing negative momentum on the MACD histogram. So maybe you're in shape for good things on the 3-day and the weekly time frame. So I'm excited for the future of BTC. I think it's really bright on what it could do on the next few months if you're patient. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please leave me a thumbs up, a comment, turn on notifications, and subscribe. I'll be going live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time and throughout the week, Monday through Friday. I check out price, talk about news, fundamental analysis, but you know that I love TA, and although this price action has been really rough for the past 6 months, I think that resolution might be really close, and hopefully this will be a confirmation low regarding this low, and you'll be going up next. So I'll see you guys on the next time. You guys are the MVPs.